of the hardest things to deal with as a parent of a horse riding enthusiast is the fact that when they're feeling nervous, scared, overwhelmed, that you've got to be the one that comes in and helps get them back into their equilibrium balance. And this can be a very tricky thing to do, because sometimes at that time you're feeling a little overwhelmed yourself and a little unsure and a little fearful sometimes even for your person. And often, even worse, is you're very frustrated because you can see what's possible and that they are capable of doing the thing, and yet they're stuck in this fear loop. So one of the things that we've got to do is do a little check-in with ourselves before we go to their aid. So it's almost like a first aid course where the first thing you remember is danger. And this situation in this is danger is your own feelings getting in the way, and your own apprehensions or your own frustrations getting in the way of actually making a difference for your little rider. And then the next thing is, once you've done that check-in and you've taken a nice good breath for yourself, is go in and obviously first remind them to breathe, remind them to be a little grounded. And the way we do that is to get them to be present. So if they're really in a big fearful place, the best thing we can do is getting them to be present. So we obviously start that with getting them to take a breath, getting to acknowledge our voice, so we're making sure that they can hear us. What can they see? And the good thing with what can they see is, what can they see in the middle distance? What can they see in the far distance? A color they can pick out in that far distance if they're feeling really overwhelmed, and then bring them all the way back to the close proximity to yourself. So making sure they can hear, making sure they can feel the senses around them, and that helps them get into that grounded place. Breathing, helping them get into that place of, now I am ready to understand what's happening around me. So once we've got those things happening, then it's what's the task. So then it's the simple thing of, what do you need to do? Do you need to be brave? Do you trust your skills? And importantly, do you trust your balance? And if you can get them to acknowledge that they trust their balance, they trust their ability to stop their horse, the ability to control their speed, then often the task they're trying to do is able to be accomplished. Sometimes the other thing that's really comforting and realistic for a lot of little kids is you actually give them a time limit. In other words, we're going to give this, so they're given the task they're trying to do 2 or 3 goes, and you go, let's do it one more time. And if they have that limitation sometimes, that not in an aggressive way, but you are saying to it, let's try and do this one more time, that gives them that sense of scarcity. So it's an unwritten rule often that when the brain thinks there's scarcity, that reaches forward into it. And so by subconsciously limiting and giving them scarcity, in other words, we're just going to try this one more time and see how you go with it, that lets them lean into the situation a little bit more, because they know they're not going to be stuck out here going over and over the same thing. So often when they have the skills, and this is important, it doesn't work if they don't have the skills, but if they have the skills, and if you set up a little moment of scarcity in the brain in an unconscious way, often riders will reach into that moment. So they'll reach into it, well, it's only one more go, so I'm going to put everything I have into that. And it actually may take 2 and sometimes even 3, but that little bit of scarcity lets them work through it. So making sure you're checking in with yourself, that you don't have an anxious moment, that you are going to be calm, that you're dropping your own frustrations and you're coming to them in a kind way, you're coming to them in a reassuring way, and then you're helping them ground and breathe and become present, because once they can come present, they can control their body. If they can control their body, they then can communicate with their horse. Then they're going to have the best success. So then they understand what's needed in the skill and what's required, and also how to go about it. So those are the things that are important, and those are the things that are going to give them the best chance. But the biggest thing about it is coming at them with kindness and support, even when you're feeling, as a parent, utterly frustrated. And that's understandable. We've all been there as a parent, or even as a coach, where you're feeling frustrated in the moment, but you don't let your own emotions leak out into them, because that will not help the issue. Take a breath, ground yourself first, and that's the important thing to remember, and then help your little rider find the best solution in the way forward. I hope this little thought helps. Good luck. Take care. Remember to be kind, and the most important to be kind to is you. See you on the next video.